So hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for inviting me. I will talk quickly about our project Future Diaries. It is a work in progress. We're not finished yet, so I can tell you basically a lot about what problems we run into, what we're struggling with at the moment. I hope it gives you some insight. So, past lives, I make it quick. I have been working with these companies, most in the interactive field, consulting Red Bull and Universal for new digital strategies, making hackathons with Tribeca, Film Institute. In VR, it's a VR company focusing on commercials and post-production. I was co-funding this company 3 years ago, but then moved away from it because I wanted to do more creative work in the field of VR and 360. Was also working in the other two places. So then I founded Expanding Focus, my company, because I was in the time before I was very much thinking about. I always was drawn to new media, but I never knew exactly what, as you all know, new media is always kind of the topic defines what kind of media you need. And it's nice, but from the outside you always received it as kind of alien, like what the hell is these people are. I think most of you are knowing this, that people from the outside don't really can put you in a box. And when I heard that, when I discovered the Oculus when it came out, I realized that it probably the VR or the digital picture will have the same career than the internet, meaning that it first is in clunky devices. It is locked and screwed to a wall, and you have to go where the internet is. And now it is everywhere. And I think the next thing where this happened to is the digital picture. So it will be everywhere very soon, and this implies a very new way of telling stories in this realm, because it's the first time that the story or the digital assets are in the same space than we as a viewer, and don't have a screen as an intermediary or a phone. So I think this will changes fundamental things in how we're gonna tell a story. And so it's also, it's not called games, it's not called films, it is called experiences. And I think it's important to not call it experience, but give it an own name, because it is its own kind of form of medium. And we are focusing on these experiences in a context of narrative entertainment as a company. So now I want to talk about our one project we are doing at the moment, among others, which we partner with a lot of documentary filmmakers and make supplementary 360 VR content to their flat content. We're doing music videos and stuff like this, but this is kind of our biggest project where also a lot of R&D is involved, where I'm going to talk about a little bit more. So what is Future Diaries? Future Diaries is I always call it a future reality fiction transmedia series. And it has actually also a lot to do with democracy from my point of view, or what we have talked about or heard about this morning. Because the plot, it is set in a close future, and there has been an algorithm which has been designed, which enables the people to live on, have a fair distribution of wealth. They cannot have a lot, they cannot have their own car or their yacht, but everything is taken care of, and everything is distributed fair. It's an algorithm which is where you can vote, and it takes everybody in consideration. It's built on a blockchain. I will talk tomorrow a little bit more about blockchain. So the technical background for that is actually here. We could actually program that and use that if we wanted to. And I'm kind of, and in that story world, it happens that the capitalist system still exists. It got even worse. The companies have taken over the political power, and so you have kind of a very exploitational system, but where you can rise and where you can have a lot. personally, and you have this very non-exploitational system where everybody gets the same, and the story world is about these two worlds and the characters fighting against each other or kind of trying to make their living despite the existence of the other, and despite the world getting more and more dry and the resources getting more and more less and less. So the underlying question is, how do we want to live? For the whole thing, the big question, like the meta question, which I wanted to address. And that's why I also chose VR, because the idea is to say, okay, we can make it experienceable in the best case through the headset. And that's at least the idea, and that's where we're working, what we're working on at the moment. So, and another reason why we wanted to do that is that I actually found that there is not a lot of utopic visions we can consume, or we can in fiction we have seen the world blow up a lot of times. Like we have, it's easier. Like apparently, it seems to be easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. So there is no really fictions about that, you know. And so I thought, why not trying to make a utopistic view on the world, even though without being unrealistic, without saying like, oh, and then everything is like, then the algorithm comes and everything is fine. No, the algorithm can come, it will improve a lot, but it will also get new conflicts. And yeah, that's what we kind of, our drive here to make a show a positive possible future. So now I will kind of always switch in between, like, how much time do we still have? When did I start? Nobody knows, okay. So I will always switch a little bit now between producing content and R&D, because that's really also what this is all about. So we were very lucky because we got a grant. We got 3 funding institutions gave us money for the prototype, to do a prototype. So we got 120,000 euros, which sounds a lot, but from what we want to do, it is not so much. So just quickly, MDM, MFG are two German regional funds. The KDFS is an art foundation in Saxonia. If you ever want to do something like that, I recommend you also to look at the media, the Creative Europe program. We are too young. We need to be at least 2 years in business as a company to apply there. But yeah, like in 6 months, we can apply for Creative Europe as well. Oh, and don't write Creative Europe like I did. So our strategy was, first we got content development money to write the story world, and we convinced our local funder to say like, okay, we make a transmedia project, we don't have a script, the first step is the story world, so normally you give money for script, but can we have that money for writing the story world? And they said yes. Wow, cool. So that's already 1 year ago, and then we finished the story world, and then we said, okay, now we actually need to write the series and do a prototype. And normally we would have then had to apply for story development funding, because then you only write the concept for that specific derivative, but that was already gone, so we had to go for project development and could ask for more money, but then also we need to do more stuff now. We have to write the story and do kind of a prototype, so that's why the money is not so much as it probably sounds. Including, or on top of that, we also need to develop the look, which is pretty demanding also for a world we have to imagine completely from the scratch. And to make it feasible, like we have Sun Life gaming elements, means that the story not only happens in the VR goggles, but we kind of want to start the story in Facebook, in social media, and it will go something like this. Hey, there's this blockchain, and if you log into that blockchain with your cell phone, you can look into the future. You can look into live streams into the future, and incorporate the headset and how you get to the headset kind of into the story, because that's also, of course, is still a big issue at the moment. Well, who has a headset and why do you use one and how do you get there? So we try to make the journey of the user to the headset as a part of the story from in the beginning. Then you follow the story, and at the end, actually the outcome, like the narrative, I will go into the narrative in a sec. Just quickly, like a few concept arts we have done. So this is just form language. This is not no color, as you can see. But the idea here was that the utopian, that their algorithm is called Utopia. So the utopian society is very much evolved out of all these movements which are happening at the moment, like circular economy, urban gardening, sustainability. And so they try to reuse old structures and put the new stuff on top of that. So we try to, at the moment, still finding a form language which kind of shows that they use the old structures, building something new on top of it, and try to reuse things, not do things completely from scratch until necessary. So coming back to the Sun Life gaming part and the narrative, because it is pretty demanding. I really underestimated this. So as I said in the beginning, we really need to with this 360 VR, it's the first time that we have to address the viewer's role. Like if you watch a movie, then it can show you anything. You will not ask yourself, why do they show me the moon, or why do they show me New York? But if you are there, the question is, who am I and what am I able to do? And if somebody walks up to me and starts talking to me, maybe my impulse is to touch these people. And so we have also on the storytelling level to address the fact that as we want to go mobile with this, there is no way of interacting with anybody. So, and the narrative goes like this, which we will learn about your social media, that the algorithm, Utopia, has sent itself back in time to contact you, because the world as it is in 2042, where you can actually look at, so you have a live stream into the future. That's also why you cannot touch anything on a story level and can just look and switch devices just by gaze. Utopia sends herself back in time and tells you that the world has been fucked. Even though there was good ideas, but the world, it's already too late. And wants you to act now, and wants you to connect with other people now in order to start that movement which started 2022, this time 2018. So we need more time. And Utopia sends herself back to contact you and ask you to download the app, so for you to be able to look into the future. We also hope that creates some excitement, that more people than usually might pick up a headset or go to a friend and say, hey, I know how to look in the future, can I borrow your glasses? So, so at the moment we struggle a lot, or I think we almost have figured it out, but at the moment this is then the VR trailer, where, when you then put on the glasses, you're gonna surf into the future, and yeah, we have like a few minutes we can tell with that money. So in that few minutes we have to set the two world, or the world we are living in, with the basic conflict between the systems, tell that the world is done basically, but still give a notion of hope for the viewer in order for him or her to then start connecting with other people in the best case. Yeah, if you ever do something like this, I can I really was thinking a lot, always here, and then when I was happy here, I said, okay, how do I connect it to the whole thing? And I did it a few times and it didn't work. So if you ever do it, do it the other way around. Think first, but speak out, and then go back to the middle. It's maybe obvious for you, but I had to learn it the hard way. So we already did a test shoot, because it's also a very challenging thing. because we built the world in CGI and then put real actors in stereoscopic 3D inside the world. So you can see here, this is the green screen studio, and that's the live feed of that camera here. This is just the mock-up, so it's just the room. It will look different. Video, or is it volumetric? It is stereoscopic, not volumetric. And then we had a live feed which you could watch on the Oculus in real time. And we were running in funny problems here because we wanted to have the actor as close as possible to the camera. We wanted to know what is the closest the actor can come, because we always need to shoot the whole body, except such scenes where somebody is sitting at a table or something, or that's why we did that. But we also need the possibility to show the whole person. So what we did was, we thought, hey, what is probably the coolest camera we can do that with? Like, of course, Ari Alexa. Got us a mirror rig where you put two cameras in, so you can shoot stereoscopic, because you cannot put them side by side because they're too wide. That's why you need the stereo rig. And then we wanted to make a wide lens on it, because for close-ups in virtual reality you need wide-angle lenses, which is contrary to how it works normally. But yeah, as you want to have somebody very close and full. And then we found out that the lenses didn't fit. The 8mm lenses didn't fit into the mirror box. It's technically not possible. They shoot each other. Like, this camera sees the lens from this one, and this one sees the lens from. So you have to put the actor again away, and then you can use again a 14mm lens. So it's like, Ari Alexa makes nice pictures, but doesn't work. And we ended up with this small fellow here. I unfortunately don't have. I put that pretty bad picture here because that's the only picture I had where both cameras are next to each other. But these things are this big, and you can put them next to each other. You don't need the mirror rig because we need 6.5 centimeters eye distance. And so we are actually still in the middle of testing all that, like see how good the quality is of the image. But we're probably going to shoot it with these small action cams in order to be able to shoot stereoscopic. So what can we learn from this? I think it's a basic decision you make when you say, okay, I start producing for a new medium or for something like VR. I think it will always be like this. It will always be unpredictable. It will be hard. It will be a lot of surprises on the way. And I think this is also kind of symptomatic for the time we are gonna walk in, not only in media creation, but in everything, because I think times will change now much quicker than they have been changing when our parents were our age or our grandparents. So I see it as a good practice for life. And in April I can show you something more. You can look into the future, and if you like us on Facebook, you will definitely get to know. Like there we will, you don't need to like or write me an email or something, but there you will read about it. So that was it. I hope I stayed in time. I think so. Thank you.
Any questions to Alex?
What was the most exciting or the most interesting possibility or opportunity these kinds of new transmedia gave to you when you were working till now? What was your most important challenge with this new transmedia? What was the most important possibility that you got and you don't have it in film or other kinds of media?
Well, I mean, we're still in the middle of it, but I think the most challenging part and the thing which also intrigues me most is that we actually create a media product to form a community, and we want to form that community more out of an altruistic reason. Like we don't really want to do anything with that community later on. We just my personal goal is that we can connect, that people will connect through that project, and we're still designing or thinking about what we could give the people, where could we lead them, and what is a good thing for our audience to say, like, hey, that's what we want. Like, we want to connect with somebody else, but just for the reason of connecting like-minded people, in order to spark new ideas, spark conversations about how we actually could live better, like also from the or not so abusive to us and our environment. I mean, work, we have to work. There won't be any, like, robots will take away our jobs very soon, maybe not ours, because we are very too close to concept and all that, but a lot of them out there. And I think we need a fundamental change in almost on all levels of society. We heard this morning that democracy is under attack. Also here the question is that this system we have, is that really the best system for our times? I don't know it, and I seriously doubt it, that the way we're voting for once in 4 years. And then then we have this Donald Trump guys with I don't know the company's name we mentioned this morning. The Facebook hacker, they then make the race. So that model for me is outdated. We need a new one, I think. Yeah. And for that, the conversation, I hope that a project like this can start a conversation in media, but also on personal levels.
Some offer a new kinds of alternative thinking on the future or something like this.
Yes.
Do you see some challenges of building a community like in a VR landscape, which is like really personal? I mean, you don't share the experience so much with anybody, like the actual experience, as if you would compare to games, for example, where you can have like multiplayer experiences and like these kind of shared experiences that can be really strong. How you see the problems maybe or challenges in the VR landscape, which is more like individual and like with the building community, for example?
I mean, for that project, we're doing it the way we're doing it also for technical reasons, like because we want to go mobile and want to make it as accessible as possible. There's very small possibility for also doing multiplayer, because these things they're already pretty strong, but that's a new level. So that's a matter of time. I would say season 3 or 4, if we ever get there, might be different. But in general, for the medium, I mean, I don't think it's a very lonesome medium. Maybe at the moment, but if you look at who bought Oculus Rift for $2 billion was Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg said this is going to be the most social medium ever, and I believe that, because you can say, like, you put the thing on and you can meet in Altspace, and then you can do games there or be somebody else. We have also seen that I think Second Life example this morning. There is a new wave coming out of that direction with VR. It's Decentraland, and another one also from the Second Life creators. So I think this is, we are in hour 1 of virtual reality there, when it really works. Like there was hour -1 in the 90s and so on, and even in the 60s. But I think the medium has enormous potential, and we will have again then these conversations we have now about Facebook once VR is 10 years old. Then you will have people, I don't know, having interactive and virtual cults and terrorist groups or whatever, and you will not get your little Hans or your little child out of the glasses anymore. I'm sure you remember the discussions when we had that with computer games. Like, oh my kid is always in the computer. We will have the same again, and the medium is stronger, so this discussion will be stronger, and the sicknesses and the fallbacks will also be stronger. So the only way I think we can address it is through culture, through cultural change. It's the same thing, you know, I could also talk with you like this, and you would probably think, what the hell is he doing, right? So the phone is not the problem. The question is, how do I use it? And these questions, the more powerful media gets, the more this question slaps us in the face. So I'm for cultural change.
Okay. Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you.